Welcome to Draw This. In this episode, I'm going to draw a cartoon snail. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll be drawing in Corel Painter 2015 today. I'm going to start by sketching on a new layer using the Detail Oils brush. All images are made of primitive shapes, so if you can break down an object into its primitive shapes like cylinders and spheres, you'll be able to draw it much easier. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to add some lines that show the contour of the shell so that it looks like it's curving. This will just be a rough sketch, and then we'll ink over this with cleaner lines. I'm going to add more cartoony eyes to this snail. Let's add some ink using the rough ink brush because it has a nice jagged organic edge. And I'm just going to paint cleanly on a new layer over that sketch. I don't have to follow the sketch exactly, so anywhere where I want to fix things up, I'll do that. I'm going to add a little bit of dashed line to create some texture. And again, I'm going to follow that contour of the shell. I'm using different sized dashes to imply different textures on the shell. I'll also add some hatching, which are these little lines that imply three-dimensional contour and shading. I'll add some little bumps and lumps to this snail's skin to give it some nice texture. Then I'm going to add some new layers for color. Each color will be on its own layer. That way if I want to change any of the colors later, or if I'm not happy with one particular color, I can delete it. And it just keeps everything separate. It also makes it nice and easy to shade later. I'm going to add some shading with Preserve Transparency. Preserve Transparency will lock the area that's already painted on each layer so that I can't paint outside of it. That makes it really easy to shade. So I'm just going in and shading with lighter colors to add highlights and darker colors to add shadows. Let's add a cast shadow underneath the snail on its own layer using a dark bluish gray, just right underneath the snail there. That makes it look like it's on the ground. If you want, you could go to the canvas layer and add in a colored background if you like. I'm just going to go ahead and keep my background white. You can also add no background by turning off the eyeball for that layer, and when you see that little checkerboard pattern, that means that there is no background. And if you were to save this as a PNG or another format that supports transparency, you could do like I'm doing here, and you could have this snail animate, or you could put him into different compositions. If you enjoyed this episode of Draw This, take a quick second to like this video and share it with your friends. And if you appreciate all these free videos I'm making, go on over to patreon.com/AaronRutten and make a donation to help me keep making videos like this possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Draw This.